here, when I draw shells over here, okay, so this is shell, okay, and here is my nucleus in the middle, okay, and nucleus has protons and protons and neutrons, okay. Now, different atoms have different number of electrons, protons, and neutrons. That's why they are different. Okay, so there's different number of protons, different numbers of electrons, and different numbers of neutrons inside them. We have different types of atoms. They have different subatomic particles. Okay, now, and they have different shells. Okay, they have different number of shells. Maybe one atom have just one shell, the other one might have 5 shells, the other one have just 3 shells. Why? What's the reason? Why cannot all the electrons revolve in just one circle? The reason is that each shell, okay, so each shell can handle a certain number of electron, okay. They have their own demands. They are very bossy. Okay, these shells, they are like, no, bro, we cannot handle that much electrons. Okay, so they have a certain number. There's a rule set, and I will tell you. The first shell, which is always near to the nucleus, can you see over here? So I will just write. Okay, I will use different colors to explain to you. So this is the first shell of the atom, correct? It's near to nucleus. This is the nearest to the nucleus. This shell, okay, so this is the first shell. Let me write it. First shell. Okay, this shell can only handle 2 electrons. Okay, this shell, if you will add more than 2, this will be like, no, 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 I will not take more. Okay, so it can only handle 2 electrons. Okay, now the second shell, okay, second shell, which is this one, okay, this shell can handle 8 electrons. 8 electrons. Okay, so the first shell can handle 2 electrons, the second one can handle only 8 electrons. Okay, in the same way there will be a third shell. Okay, there will be a third shell, and this shell, okay, this shell can also handle a certain number of electrons. But at your level, because you guys are still in year 8 coming from year 7, I think this is enough for you. So if first shell can handle 2 electrons, the second shell is handling 8 electrons. Okay, the third shell might handle 18 electrons. Okay, so the third shell might handle 18 electrons. Okay, so this is a set number of pattern. Okay, this is a set number of pattern which is being observed. Okay, so this is what I am saying you about electrons. So now let's come back, let's move on. So our atom is made up of fundamental particles. They are electron, protons, and neutrons. Neutron and proton live inside nucleus, while electrons revolve in shells. Each shell can handle certain number of electrons. First shell, which is nearest to the nucleus, it can handle 2 electrons. Second one can 8, and the same way we move on. Okay, but this number you should remember at least for first shell. Now the way we represent it, okay, even though you can write first shell, but the easiest way we represent first shell with K, letter K, second shell with letter L, and third shell with M, and the fourth one with N. Okay, just to tell you, just give you some information. Okay, excellent. So far so good. Excellent. So yes, the third shell is furthest away. Okay, so this is away from nucleus. This is closest to the nucleus. Okay, excellent, excellent. Yes. Okay, now the other thing which I want to tell you here, in an atom, as I told you, each shell have certain number of electrons. Now the other rule for atom is that in an atom, here, this is a big rule. Okay, so let me write it here. Okay, so it's a big rule over here, and let me write it with orange color. It's a big rule over here. Okay, and what's the rule? That in an atom, the number of proton is always equal to number of electron. This is the first general rule of atoms. Okay, what? In an atom, it could be any atom. Okay, if you're talking about a hydrogen atom, its number of proton will equal to number of electron. If you're talking about gold atom, its number of proton will be equal to number of electrons. Okay, so there are different types of atoms, correct? So atom is a general name. We have different names for different atoms, but the general rule for them is that number of proton is always equal to number of electron. What do I mean by that?